mature benevolence and understanding, full understanding of all that is around you. It's different, isn't it? So if you start to analyze that particular definition, you will see the sense of it and the logic of it, because it has several pieces and parts. The connection with Spirit will automatically connect you to your soul and give you a piece of that compassion you need, then to allow a meld with the energies of open-heartedness. With a mature benevolence, not an immature benevolence, a mature benevolence, something that you get from the connection with Spirit. And then goes into an understanding perception of what you're being compassionate about. That is a mature compassion. That is at the heart of everything we teach. The most common compassion would be compassion for others in your life. As you walk around as a light worker or even an interested spiritual person, you have to understand that compassion is the catalyst for everything. Compassion is the thing that moves you into a state of peace that allows for healing. And we're going to say that again. We're going to say it again in several channels. And the ones who are featured on these programs, the speakers, the healers, they'll talk about it as well. If you've ever talked to a healer and say, before you go into a healing session or you have another human report to you, whether it's long distance or in front of you, what do? And some will say, well, I meditate or I prepare myself. And then if you want to drill down a little more, say, well, what does that mean exactly? Prepare yourself. How do you prepare yourself? What do you do? And they'll start using language like this. I drop into my heart. I have a compassionate countenance. I clear my mind so that I can feel the love and the needs of the person I'm going to talk to, the one I'm going to balance so that they can heal themselves. This is the process for any healer on the planet, especially the ones that interface with other humans day after day, or give readings to the humans to help their heart to become less afraid and more peaceful. They prepare themselves. They drop into their heart. They throw away the intellect. They don't try to figure things out. They just are. Let me tell you something. How many inventors have you heard tell a story that their inventions came not when they were concentrating on the pieces and the parts of the physics or the chemistry? It happened when they were doing something completely and totally unrelated, walking down the street, perhaps going to sleep. And that's when the best ideas happened. It's the same process, dear ones. Compassion and love are the same. You clear all your countenance, and then you can start to have that which is a compassionate heart. And that leads, by the way, right into the ability to heal. Compassion for others is not pity. It is not feeling sorry for anyone. Compassion for another person is you pretending you are there with the answer. And so that is you in their place and not necessarily feeling what they're feeling, but going to them as though you could hug them, even long distance. You have a compassion for others where you don't necessarily do much or feel that which is them as much as you're hugging them. You have a compassion for them like you would have for your child, perhaps, who fell down and bumped their knee. It's not about healing their knee. It's about holding them and loving them so much that they would feel from you something they didn't expect, perhaps something that comes from the other side of the veil. When we get to the fourth attribute, I'm going to explain this, and you're going to know more about that which we're going to name as a facet of compassion. But this is similar to number 4. Compassion for others, the most common thing that you might have, is not necessarily becoming empathetic with them. In fact, that might even be dangerous. If somebody is in horrible sorrow because of the loss of a loved one, and you have the ability to empathize with that can affect you. You can see this. If they're afraid, that can affect you. You can see this. But if you stand apart and your whole job is to hug them, even long distance, or to be there for them, sometimes the best compassion you can have in person is to let them talk. If you sit there and love them while they talk to you, that's the highest compassion that you could have at the moment for somebody who is in trouble. If you're doing it long distance for a group who has suffered something together, imagine hugging all of them, giving them peace. What you're sending them and hoping that they can receive with an open heart is that which you receive when you realize that you're being hugged by the Spirit, by God who knows your name. And so you might project onto them the feeling of peace and understanding so that they would get through whatever it is that they are going through. Or if you're looking at a group or a culture and you have compassion for them, you feel them being hugged through their trial so that they would have far less anxiety and would not be fearful. If you want to have compassion for the planet at this moment, as it works through the puzzle of what you've called the virus, what you want to project there is clear. Peace, understanding, lack of fear. You can do that. You can do that because you have the light that figuratively can be sent even to huge groups through the energy of your peaceful countenance and consciousness. Just lately on this planet, you have proved and continue to prove that consciousness is energy, a player in physics even. Now you know. That is going to be seen even greater as you go. That means that you, as a light worker, can have compassion for others that they can feel, that clears the field around them, that helps them to deal with what they're dealing with. Can you send compassion for the earth? Yes, you can. A group of you, even better, sending compassion. That you get through this without the fear, the anxiety, the things that will actually shorten your life if you're not careful. And that is the answer. Compassion for others on this planet, even one at a time, even planet-wide, bigger than you think, and is the true job and the talent of a light worker listening to this program. That's what you're here for. Consciousness changes this planet. Love is always the answer. I'll be back. And so it is.
And while we are still in this place of the energy of Kryon, let us set an intention that we carry forward this feeling of love and compassion, and that as we move forward, we continue to carry this vibration of joy, this frequency of love and compassion. Lee, I want to thank you for such a beautiful message from Kryon.
Thank you. I think it's just I get excited about the fact that we're going to get 3 more on compassion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, absolutely. And it couldn't be a more better theme from Kryon, because our next guest is focusing just on that very subject, self-love and how you do that. And it is Dee Wallace. And Dee, are you there?
I'm here, baby.
Wonderful, wonderful.
was that a yes? I think it was.
I think that was a yes. I'm here.
It was a big one. That's great. This is exciting for us because we haven't been with Dee before. We haven't really met her. It's our first time, just like so many of you. Dee's important message to the world. And I want you to really listen to this, because this just allies with everything we teach so much. Listen to her message. Love yourself beyond anyone or anything else. Love yourself so much that you can't do anything that doesn't make you love yourself more.
How perfect is that
Let's just
message?
sit and listen to that for a while.
Absolutely. Now, Dee began her channeling healing work over 20 years ago, when she dropped to her knees after her husband's sudden death, and she asked for a way we could heal ourselves. Seconds later, she received her first message, which was this: use the light within you to heal yourself. And she has passionately been teaching the art of self-creation ever since.
Dee has authored 5 books on the subject of self-creation. Conscious Creation, The Big E, Bright Light, Getting Stuff, Wake Up Now. She conducts a live call-in internet radio show each Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific and offers monthly webinars on a variety of creation subjects.
And Dee has spoken at numerous venues all over the world, including Japan, China, New Zealand, Amsterdam, Australia, England, and of course the United States and Canada. Now, Dee has also appeared on every major news and talk show. She's been featured on E, which I think that's the E Entertainment, and True Hollywood Stories and Oprah.
And before we bring Dee in, it's very
A fun fact.
a fun fact I'll just give you. She didn't want me to mention this, but I'm doing it anyway, just so you know. She wears 2 profound hats, and you may recognize her as she is a Hollywood actress. She still is a Hollywood actress, and she was featured, of course, in E.T. as the mother. So I'm sorry I said that, but I wanted people to know exactly who you are, so now they can relate. And she's a channeler of all of this work that she does.
Absolutely. So she's been in contact with ETs all along.
All along. Welcome, Dee Wallace.
That was a good segue there.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Well, it's my great joy to be with you. And it's fine to mention ET. And a lot of people follow me for Cujo and the Howling. And, I'm kind of a dichotomy, because I spend half my life doing horror films and the other half teaching people how to
heal from the horror movie.
From fear. Yeah. So, I have an interesting and varied and exciting life. And it wasn't always that way. It was always exciting, but wasn't always balanced. I come from a very poor family in Kansas City. My father was an alcoholic most of my life. Ended up committing suicide my senior year of high school. My younger brother committed suicide just a year and a half ago. So a lot of tragedy and a lot of beauty and love. So again, I think that's the dichotomy of all of us, guys, is that yin and yang that we go through fighting ourselves. And when we truly move into loving ourselves in the highest way, we realize that owning all those old stories and keeping ourselves involved in all of the old stories and, oh, I was raped, and oh, I was treating as a child, and oh, my dad was an alcoholic, and oh, I've never had any money. And as long as we keep telling those stories, we keep living those stories. And I want to discuss a little bit about, you see, I've always been a channel. All of us have always been a channel. When you were little, you channeled all the time. And then you learned that it wasn't okay and you had to fit into society and blah, 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 and all the stuff that we're taught that takes our real powers away from us. When I was 7 or 8 years old, again, my family was very poor. My mom had to work all the time. So I would spend most of my days into the early evenings with my grandma. And she and I were very close. She was my best friend growing up until the day she died. And I woke up one night and I said, there's something wrong at Grandma's house and Grandma's not okay. Now, my mom had to get up at 5:30 every morning to go to work because she had to take 2 buses. And I went in to wake her up. It was like midnight, probably. And I said, Mommy, wake up. Something's wrong at Grandma's house. Something's not. And she said, what do you mean, sweetheart? I said, I just woke up and I just know something's not okay at Grandma's house. We need to go see if everything's okay. Well, God loved my mother. She got up and called, and Grandma didn't answer. And God loved my mother. We got in the car and we drove over to Grandma's at like 1:30 in the morning. And when we got in, the cat had gotten up on the stove and turned all the burners on. So the house was filling up with gas.
Wow.
And Grandma was okay. Who knows if Grandma would have been okay?
Yeah.
But those are the kind of things, we tell our kids, oh, do you have an imaginary little play friend? Right? Well, that's all an early form of channeling. And what I want everybody to know is all the energy, everything hangs out right above us. And all of that information is open to absolutely anybody who asks. In the good book, it says, ask and you receive. What most people don't know, however, is that ask in the original Hebrew means claim or demand. So it means this will be delivered to me. Not, oh gosh, am I worthy? And if I wait long and if I do all the right stuff, then could I? That's not what it means. It means I am consciously choosing what I want. I am saying that I am the creation of it, along with the greatest creative force, because we're all one energy. And I am demanding now that this be delivered unto me. So that's one of the premises that my work is based on. The most important premise is the I am principle. God said, I am that I am. I have to say I'm God if I'm God. I have to claim that definition of myself. I had to say I am an actress before I could be an actress. So most of us don't really understand the importance of choosing our thoughts, our feelings, and our perceptions. We think thoughts are things that happen, and feelings are just things that happen to us that we get. It's not true. And the more consciously you choose what you want to think, what you choose to feel, and what your perceptions are that you want to own, the more your life gets created in the way you want it to be created. So let me start with everything is energy. You learned that in 5th grade. Everything is energy. Energy's been here from the beginning of time. It will be here forever. Energy must have direction. And if we are not directing energy in a conscious way, it will pick up direction from anything, from a television commercial, from the fear of your family, from old antiquated religious teachings. But it will accept and absorb and follow direction, whether you give it consciously or not. So anything that comes after I am is a direction to energy. You get up and say, oh my God, I'm so tired today. You are saying, I am the God of me who is tired. And the universe says, yes, Master, I will match that. You get up and say, you know, I never have enough money. I am the God of me who never has enough money. And the universe says, yes, we will match that. You get up and say, I am powerful and I know and I'm clear and I love myself. And the universe goes, yes, we will match that. So it's incredibly important to know that it all begins with us. It all begins inside us so that we become in alignment